Hey, what's up everybody? So we are doing an oil change here on a 2020 Yamaha MT09. So it should be very similar for the other years for the MT series. So what we need is 2.9 quarts of oil. So I have got like 3 of those, and then the oil filter, and you need a 17 millimeter socket, and then an oil filter removal tool that you can get at Walmart for $6-7, and then you have the funnel and the drain pipe. So the first step that I do is this is what I have learned from several oil changes is don't start up the bike when the bike is cool. Make sure you loosen the oil filter as well as the drain plug. So what would that would make you do is that it prevents you from injury from burning, from touching the hot exhaust or anything. This just makes it easier. So the first step is gather everything and get the bike. Don't start it, let it be cool, and then go ahead and loosen that. We'll go ahead and do it now. So let's go ahead and what we need to remove. So as you can see, this is the drain plug. It's a 17 millimeter, and that's where the oil filter is. So I'm gonna loosen this a little bit so that it's loose enough for me to remove them by hand. The only reason I'm doing that is because now the bike is cold, so I would reduce the risk of getting burnt. Let's go ahead and grab the 17 millimeter. Then it's loose enough to remove by hand, so we're going to loosen the oil filter now. I'll use the oil filter wrench. So the extension bar I cannot, space is too less. Okay, so that is loose now, and what I'll do is I'll start up the bike and warm up the engine, so that way the oil warms up and it's easier to drain it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start up the bike and let it run for 1 minute. So this way we'll warm up the oil, and when we finally remove the oil plug and the filter, it would drain out most of the oil. So there's one more step that we need to do before we remove that, and I'll come back to that. Let's wait for 1 minute for the bike to run. We'll come back. So now we have been running the bike for a minute, so we'll turn it off. The third important step is we actually need to loosen this fill plug, so that way it won't create a vacuum when we are draining out the oil, so it will come out easier. So that's the trick, step 3. Just keep it like this, and we'll go ahead, put the oil pan below, and then remove. Okay, so I would first take off the drain plug, but loosen it enough so that the oil starts draining, and when the flow slows down, you remove it all the way so there's no spillage. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go back and put the 17mm socket, or it's now So it's very hard, be careful. We just ran the engine. So see, I'm not removing the bolt all the way, I'm letting it drain a little bit. So that way, you know, it won't, you know, gush out and spill. Just let it drain for a little bit this way. Be careful because it's hot oil from the... Now, yeah, you can remove that. So this is a trick that I learned from the several oil changes, that don't take it out all the way, do it slowly, and then the oil will just into the pan. While that is there, I would just go ahead and clean up the drain plug. Okay, so now most of the oil has drained out. So the next step is to remove the oil filter. If it's, make sure it's not too hot. If it's too hot, use a rug to grab it, but it's okay, I can use my hands. And then again, don't take it out all the way, loosen it enough and let the oil drip for some time till the flow slows down, and then yeah, then you can remove it. I think I did good, didn't spill a single drop of oil so far. That's your oil filter. I have the new one. Look at it here. So with Yamaha, if you notice, this comes, they have this plastic cover, so it comes already pre-lubed, so you don't have to put oil and then put it on. It already comes. So this one, show you the part number here, so you can see that it's 12 bucks, cheaper than the Honda one. And so I have to wait till it drains. And the other thing that you can do is actually you can sit on the bike and stand it up, move it, wiggle it a little bit, so that way whatever oil is left over will come on. You don't need to get it, like you can wait forever, but for me that's good enough, like as long as it stops dripping. So I think you're good. So I'm gonna install the filter. It's already pre-lubed. Don't need to do anything. What you can do is like clean up. Yeah, and then just twist it. While installing, you don't really need any wrenches. Hand tightening is sufficient, but make sure it's really tight, and then use a rug to tighten it more. Okay, I'm gonna go install the drain plug. You can find the torque specs in your owner's manual, but I'm just gonna do it. Okay, that's good enough. And wipe it down. I want to do this to make sure once we fill it up and start the engine, it's not leaking any oil. Okay. So So the next step is we'll fill it up. We have put the drain plug back, the oil filter back. So we are using this Yamaha lube. So that's the 10W40 four-stroke engine oil, specifically made for motorcycles by Yamaha. So this costs about $7 a quart. This is probably semi-synthetic. So we need 3 of these. We only need 2.9 quarts. So the trick is you don't need anything measuring cylinder or anything. What you do is, you see this bottle has the measuring marks. So leave like 100 ml here. So that will be 2.9. So I'm gonna go ahead and I've already put the cone there. And then see, another thing that I do is I put the rug so that if I spill any oil, it's gonna directly fall on the rug. So what I'm gonna go ahead do is start filling the oil up. So the first 2 I can directly pour it in. The third one I need to watch because I want 0.9 quarts and not the entire. Some people just put it because they say that the engine is going to burn that excess oil, but I would say, the manufacturer recommends 2.9, let's put 2.9. It's not hard because you have these markings side. So 1 goes in. That's the second one. You can actually use these empty containers for recycling the oil. You can take it to Walmart or AutoZone. You can recycle the old oil for free. So this one I do need to measure. Fill it up. Okay, exactly I got. So I think we're good. So now, no spills, I'm gonna wipe that. I'm gonna wipe this one and plug, put it back on. Okay, so oil change is done. So we're gonna start up the bike, let it run, and then we're gonna check for any leaks. If there are no leaks, we are good to go. And then we are done, we can take it for a test ride. Let's go ahead and start it up.